Okay, our second topic is who is Jesus? What did he do for us? And I feel like Jesus as a character, as a figure, for one, I notice is often mocked and scoffed. I don't see that they really make fun of any other religion, any other religious figure. So let that speak for it. Let it speak volumes for itself. But I feel like we hear that name and we often think of it as a fairy tale. We don't think of him as a real person that walked this earth. And so just a little background, if you do some digging, you will find that just in the Greek, there are 5,800 manuscripts written about him in across all languages, 24,000. He is one of the most well documented religious figures to have walked this earth. So absolutely something that you can go and look into. Now, we are born as sinful creatures because of what Adam and Eve did way back when, the Garden of Eden. We have all been born with a sinful nature, meaning our flesh, we automatically want to sin. Well, the Bible tells us that the price for sin is death, and it is eternal death in hell, right? A price that none of us can pay. One sin equals that. And how many times a day do we lie? Do we sin, right? So think about how many, I think about how many sins just in my life that I have committed. There's too many to name. So Jesus came here. He was sent by Elohim, God the Father, and he walked this earth and he lived a sinless life, meaning he completed not one sin. Fast forward to his adult life. He then got on a cross, a dirty, rugged, wooden cross. His hands and feet nailed to that cross. He was then tortured. He was beat. He was humiliated. He was spat on. They mocked and scoffed who he was, right? He took on all of that so that the wrath of our sin would be put on him and he would pay a price that we could not pay. So we see in John 3:16, for Elohim God so loved the world that he gave his only brought forth son, so that everyone who believes in him shall not perish, but possess everlasting life. So we are told, the Bible tells us, that what Jesus did on the cross for us pays our price, right? So that we don't have to have eternal death. All we need to do is we need to believe what he did on that cross for us. He was risen 3 days later, meaning yes, they killed him on that cross, and he was risen 3 days later. He now sits with Elohim the Father, and he is a living God. He's not buried. When we're praying to him, he hears that, right? He is living. He was risen 3 days later. So what we need to do so that we can accept what he did for us is accept that price he paid for you. Believe that he died on that cross for you, that he rose 3 days later. And an amazing book to start with in the Bible that I would highly recommend would be in the Gospels, and it would be John. It very much depicts what he did for us, and it walks you through it, and it at least helped me really start to grow a relationship and really see what he did for me and the price that he paid for my sin when I was out just recklessly sinning. He's already accounted for that, right? He paid that price. And so all we need to do is we need to believe in what he did. We need to accept that gift, and we need to repent. We need to turn away from our old ways, turn away from the sinning, and he'll do the rest. He'll guide you forth. I like to look back to Romans 5:8, but Elohim God proves his own love for us, in that while we were still sinners, Messiah died for us. Much more then, having now been declared right by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. Mind you, there were over 500 eyewitnesses that physically, with their eyes, eyewitnesses, saw Jesus after he died, meaning within his resurrection. Mind you, those eyewitnesses were put to death along with some of their families because of what they saw, and they refused to renounce it. They refused to say that it wasn't true. So those are people that died because they said that they saw him after his death. And so that's what he did on the cross for us. He didn't have to pay that price. He didn't sin himself. He lived a blameless, sinless life. And he was sent here to pay for your and my sin so that we don't have to pay a price that we can't pay. Believe in him. Believe in what he did for you. Seek a relationship with him. That's the second video. Thank you.